Hello, 7th grade. Let's go ahead and just get started going right into this. I don't know how long this video is going to take, but the other videos have been taking me about 30 minutes to do, so just to cut on some time here. Number 1, if you divide the circumference of a circle by its diameter, what would be the approximate quotient? All right, so let's just go ahead and write that out. So we have the circumference divided by the diameter. Well, we should know that C over D equals pi. That's one of the ratios that I didn't give you. So the answer is B. Number 2. A circle has a radius of 5 inches. What is the approximate area of the circle? So I'm going to write the circumference formula. I'm sorry, not circumference, area. That's for area. So it's pi r squared. And it's approximate, so pi is 3. 5 squared, 5 is the radius. So 3 times 25, that looks like 3 and 25 hundredths. 3 times 25, that equals 75. The answer is D. Number 3. This spinner is used in a board game. What is the probability that a player will spin an even number? Alright, so we need to count how many even numbers there are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, over the total amount of spaces there are. So 16. Now I'm going to simplify. Divide by 2. I get 3/8. The answer is B. Number 4. A wheel has a diameter of 2 feet. What is the circumference of the wheel? Alright, so circumference equals pi d. That comes straight from your reference chart. It says to let pi equal 3/1400ths. And the diameter is 2. So when you multiply 3 and 1400ths times 2, you get 6 and 2800ths. The answer is C. Number 5. A spinner is numbered 1 through 10. If Dana spins the wheel 1 time, what is the probability that she will spin an odd number? So let me just write these numbers out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I know 10 is the total. And then how many are odd? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get 5 out of 10. So the answers really aren't simplified, so that's fine. The answer there is C. Alright, next page. Number 6. Joan spins the spinner above 1 time. What is the probability that she will spin an 8 or 2? Alright, so I'm looking for anything that's an 8 or 2. There's 2, and then out of 8 total. So 2 8s, or 1/4. The answer is C. Number 7. The table shows some values for a function. What is the rule for the function? So I'm looking to see whether it's additive or multiplicative. It's multiplicative because it goes through 0, 0. So this is just times 3 times 3 times 3, right? So the answer is C, or x times your 3. Number 8. The table above shows how many of each kind of cookie Miss Armstrong put into a cookie jar. If her son picks a cookie from the jar without looking, what is the probability that he will not pick a peanut butter cookie? Alright, so let's find peanut butter. So there's 20 peanut butter. So what I'm going to do is I want to subtract that from the total once I add up the total. So let's just go ahead and add these up. Alright, 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 8 is 14 plus 6 is 20. Alright, 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 2 is 50. Okay, so now We're looking for not peanut butter. So there are 20 that are, so how many would not? You would just subtract 50 minus 20. So that's 30 over 50. When I simplify, that's 3/5. As a decimal, 6/10. As a percent, 60%. So the answer is C. Alright, now we're working with graphs. Which of the following equations is represented by this graph? Alright, the easiest thing to do is to pull out some points, plug it in, and see if it works. So let me just quickly make this XY chart. Alright, so let's look at some points. So the first point I see is 0, -1. Another point I see is 2, 0. Let me try those first, and then if those work for multiple, then I'll come back. Alright, so let's look at A. So I'm going to take the equation x plus 2y, and that has to equal 2. I'm going to take this first point, plug in for x, plug in for y, and again it has to equal 2. So 0 plus 2 times -1, does that equal 2? Well, 0 plus 2 times -1 is -2. So this is actually -2. So that doesn't work. So it can't be A. Alright, let's look at B. So again, let me erase this right here. I'll just reuse this. Oh. 2x, oops, I was doing C. X minus 2y equals 2. Okay, so let's use the first point. 0 minus 2 times -1, does that equal 2? 0 minus 2 times -1 is -2. Does that equal 2? Well, yes. 0 plus 2 is 2, so that one works. Now let's do 2 and 0. So 2 minus 2 times 0 equals 2. 2 minus 0 equals 2, yes. So those work for both of those. Alright, so the answer here is B. Now if you want to work out C, you can, but quickly I'll just show you. I'll just take the first point. No, you know what? I'll take the second point for C. 2 times 2 would be 4 plus 0. Well, that's just 4, so that doesn't work. And for D, let's take the first point. 2 times 0 is 0. Right? 2 times 0 is 0 minus 1. That's going to be a positive one, so that doesn't work. Number 10. Which graph represents the function y equals x plus 2? So there's a couple of ways I can do this. If you remember how to graph, this is your slope, and there's an imaginary 1, and this is your y-intercept. So I'm looking for a y-intercept of 2, and where I go up, rise 1, run 1. So this one starts at 2. I go up 1, over 1. Well, that's not there. Alright, let's look at B. This one does not start at 2, so that can't be it. C. Here it is. Up 1, over 1, that works. Up 1, over 1, that works. D, again, this doesn't start at 2. Now, if you did not remember that, another way to do this is to make another XY chart. And say, okay, if I plug in 0 for X, what do I get for Y? Well, 0 plus 2 is 2. If I plug in 1 for X, what do I get for Y? Well, 1 plus 2 is 3. If I plug in 2 for X, what is Y? 2 plus 2 is 4. Then I would just plot those points. 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. And so the answer is C. Number 11. Which graph shows the relationship y equals 3x minus 1? Alright, so again, my slope would be 3 over 1. and my y-intercept is -1. So I would need it to cross at -1. Okay, there's only one that does that, and that's C. Okay, but again, if you don't know that, then let's draw a t-chart, x, y. And let's start with if x is 0. So I would do 3 times 0 minus 1. And what does that equal? -1. All right, let's do 2. Let's do 3. 3 times 1 minus 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3. Minus 1 is 2. And then let's do 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Minus 1 is 5. And I would just plot those points. 0, -1. Well, again, the only one that has 0, -1 is here. But 1, 2. There it is. And 2, 5 up here. All right, so there's that one. All right, so you guys didn't have number 12 that showed here. So the numbers started getting kind of off. So this would actually be number 12, but it showed that it was number 13 because I took 12 out. Okay. So again, same thing. What is the equation of the line shown in the graph? All right, so I know that my y-intercept is a -2. That's where it's crossing. Okay. So this one's 4, this one's 4. Okay, now let's find the slope. How many do I go up? How many do I go over? So I go up 1 over 1, 2. All right, so my slope is 1/2. So the one that shows that is A. Now again, you can plug in points into the equations, and that would help you as well. Number 14. Which table contains the ordered pairs of the line graphed above? All right, so let me just plot some. All right, so let's look. So I have 0, 3. So which one shows 0, 3? This one does. That one doesn't, but I'm not going to mark that out yet. 0, 3. Okay. You know what? It's probably best if I just mark them out. So let's look at this one right here. -3 and 0. -3 on the X and 0. That's over here. So that's not A. Okay. Let's go to B. -1 and 4. -1, 4 works. That's there. 0, 3 works. And 3, 0. All right, so all points are there. The answer there is B. Next page, more graphs. All right, number 15, which is actually number 14 on your paper. What equation best represents the line in the graph? Okay, so again, let's find our y-intercept, which is 3. And our slope. Our slope, the line is going down 1 over 1. Okay, so that would actually be a negative slope, but we really haven't talked much about that. So let's just go ahead and just make our XY chart. And let's put in these points. So 0, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and then let's plug it in. So if, let's take A for example. Well, I'm only going to use, it's going to be between A and D because this is -3, right? And the y-intercept is 3. So 0, which is my X. So if I plug in 0 plus 3, do I get 3? This 3 over here, I do. So that works. So let's try the next one. 1 plus 3, and I'm supposed to get 2, but 1 plus 3 equals 4. That doesn't work. Let's try C. -0, which is just 0, plus 3, well, that equals 3, so that works. And then -1, because it's a negative in front of the X, plus 3, well, that does equal 2. So the answer is C. 15 on your paper, 16 here. A bag contains 3 blue marbles, 2 green marbles, 1 red marble, and 6 yellow marbles. Chayton selects 1 marble at random. What is the probability it is not yellow? So the first thing I need to do is just add these up. So 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 6 is 12. That's my total. Now I'm looking for not yellow, so I can subtract however many yellow there are. There's 6 minus 12, which will leave me with 6. So that's a half. The answer is C. 17, 16 on your paper. Courtney has a container of 27 pins. The container has 15 blue pins, 12 black pins. If she selects 1 pin without looking, what is the probability that it will be blue? Alright, so let me just find the probability of blue. So blue is 15, so it's 15 over 27. Okay, so now these have plus and minuses, right? Ones with it. So what it's actually trying to get you to do is the complement. Okay, so, well, what's the complement of 15 over 27? The way to write that is 1 minus, how many are not blue? Well, that would be 12 over 27. So the answer is A, because if I subtract 1 minus 12 over 27, you get 15 over 27. Number 18, 17 on your paper. Ollie installed wood trim 1/4 of the circumference of a circular hot tub. If the radius of the hot tub is 6 feet, about how many feet of wood trim did Ollie use? Alright, so 1/4 of the circumference. The radius is 9 feet, so it would be 1/4, because it's 1/4 of the circumference, times C, and it gave me the radius. Oh, I don't know why I put C. C equals, how about that? 1/4 pi d, you could use that one, right? So the radius is 6, so my diameter would be 12. So C equals 1/4 times pi times 12. Or I could do C equals 1/4 times 2 pi r, and that would be the same thing here. Alright, so now it does say about, so I'm going to use 3 for pi because it's rounding. So 1/4 times 3 times 12. Now again, I can work in any order, so I'm going to just do 1/4 times 12. So that's really dividing by 4, so that gives me 3 times 3, which is 9. So the answer is D. Alright, last page. 18 for you. A box contains a blue cube, a red cube, and a yellow cube. You randomly draw a cube from the bag and then flip a coin. What could not be an outcome? Okay, so I have blue, red, yellow. All right, blue, red, and yellow. And you randomly flip a coin. So the coin would be heads and tails, right? Alright, so I can get blue heads, blue tails, red heads, red tails, yellow heads, yellow tails. So I can't get 2 colors. So the answer there is D. 20. David drew this figure composed of 2 semicircles. Using 3.14 for pi, what is the approximate perimeter of the figure? Okay, so I know that I have to find half of this circle. I have to find half of this circle. Then I want to add these sides. Okay, so first let's find this circle. Well, the diameter is going to be this line going all the way across. So 36, 36, and 40. Right, so 112. Now, if you notice, my answers don't have decimals. No, I better just use 3.14. I was going to use 3, but it tells me to use 3.14, so I'm going to use that. Alright, so the first thing is, it's a semicircle, so 1/2 times 3.14 times 112. That's C equals pi d, right? That would be one of them. The other equation would be this bottom semicircle. So that would be 1/2 3.14 times 40. So the diameter is 40 because that's this all the way across, that 40 piece. All right. And then plus I have to add the 236s because it wants the distance all the way around. All right, so I'm going to multiply 1/2 times 1/12 first. Because I can just divide that by 2. And of course that's going to be 56. Okay, I think it's 56. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is. Okay, so 56 times 3.14. 6 times 4 is 24. That's 18. 1570. All right, so I have 175 and 8400ths. All right, now 1/2 times 40 is 20. So I'm going to do 3.14 times 20. That's a row of zeros. So 6280. So now let's just add. I'm going to go ahead and round, so I'm going to make this 176. 6280, I'm going to put 63, and then I have two 36s. Okay, so 21, 13, 14, 15, 21, and I get 311. So the answer there is B. All right, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, you can always leave me a message. I will answer. I don't really get much from your class, so I hope that you guys are doing okay. Your grades are not showing that you're doing great. So, again, if you have questions, leave them for me. I will answer them, I promise. All right, so I guess you guys have a good one.